Tonight we got a very special show for you, all the way from Las Vegas, actually where I am, the one and only Paul Vigil. How we doing,
Yeah,
buddy?
thanks so much, Luke. It's a real pleasure and honor to be here with you.
Nah, the honor is all mine, and we are all very excited to see you out there because classics of magic, you are one of the few still keeping them alive, and damn, I love you for that.
I still love the classics. They're great for a reason. And with some of the teachers that I had, like you mentioned previously, if I wouldn't have had them uh, in my life to teach me some of these things and be in the lineage of it, then, uh, maybe they would have a different impact on me. But I feel so lucky to be able to learn some of these things and to present them the way that they've always been done.
Yeah.
Well, not
Um,
always done, but I mean, right now I'm specifically thinking of the egg bag and Sony, which is basically the routine that Molini did. It's 99% of still Molini, the way that he performed it.
right. And I've had the pleasure to see you perform that a few times, and it still kills for those
I love
modern
it. Yeah, it's a great
audiences.
routine. It really is.
So why don't we kind of dive in with that? The classics of magic, it's a broad topic, but for you, I thought it'd be fun to talk about how you kind of select the pieces that you do because you're performing not for those audiences from when Mellini was performing for, obviously, but modern audiences all over the world. And how do you choose the pieces that you then present to these new modern audiences that one have probably never seen these things, but two, that you still know these pieces play even now, all these
Uh,
years later?
well, as you know, if it has seen me perform, usually it's a mixture of two different performances in one. Like if I'm doing an hour-long performance, really I want to do about 30 minutes of classical magic and then 30 minutes of mentalism with some kind of symmetry break in the middle of there. And like for instance, with the egg bag, I am talking about it as a historical piece and being in the lineage of learning some of these things. But then other things like cups and balls, they lend themselves so well to just, this is one of the oldest tricks that they say is recorded. It's in the hieroglyphs of the ancient pyramids and beginning there as well.
And you perform these pieces not just on stage, but up close and personal to people too. That was one really cool thing about the performances you did recently in Vegas. I saw the stand up version, but you also take some of that same mentality and you apply it to close up as well. And that's what I love. And actually, speaking of the castle, when are you going to be there? I was just talking about that. And I know
Okay,
you're going to bring
so
that.
I'm coming up at the castle real quick, April 1st to the 7th. And I'm there for a specific week, which is the Tannins Magic Club week. And for about the last 8 or 9 years, I've been a teacher out at Tannins and have become part of the group that's out there that does the classes for the kids in the summer. And I mean, it's opened my heart in ways that I never could have imagined. And for instance, just earlier this afternoon, I had lunch with one of the young gals from there, Amanda Nepo. Maybe she's on here. I told her that I would be on here tonight. She said she might jump in, but she's out here hanging out. And, I've known her for a number of years and I've seen her grown. So it's really cool. There's a lot of the kids that are like this. And I just feel so uh, happy to be a part of teaching them and showing them what I know and seeing them grow with it and use it, whatever it is. And just a little bit history on that is, and what was great about it is it happened about the time that I lost Thompsoni, and Thompsoni was really my life. Oftentimes revolved around taking care of him there at the last years of his life. Not that he needed a lot of help, but I just always wanted to be there for him in case he did need it. And with John gone, I really had a lot of free time. And then I got involved with Tannins, and I got involved in there through Vinny Giordano, who's been my friend since we were young. And he always went to Tannins. In fact, I think he might be the youngest kid that ever went to Tannins. And he became Matt Franco's stage manager. And so they asked him who he would want to overtake his spot there at Tannins, and he threw my name in the hat, and I ended up there, and I've been going there ever since. And like I said, it's just such an awesome project to be a part of. And so next in here in a couple weeks, April 1st through the 7th at the Magic Castle, they're going to be having Tannins Week. and it'll be a bunch of counselors, teachers, students that have been involved in cannons that will be there performing throughout the week.
Cool. Very cool. Um,
And
well,
I never grew up going to camp. Like, I'm a Spanish kid. I didn't really have any parents around, and I grew up in Utah, so camping was just going out in the backyard. Uh, it is. It's really really cool to see this experience for people. It really is very very different from the way I grew up, but very cool.
well, speaking of cool, we have a cool guest that just pops up here. You might recognize him. He is
Good
Cody
guy.
Fisher.
Yeah, Cody's a great guy. What's going on, Cody?
Uh, yeah, I don't know who this guy is, but I just wanted to take this opportunity to offer up some books for sale. So, got some extra books here. Um,
Cody's got copies of my books that I don't have.
yeah, they're pretty good. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know about fantastic, but yeah, classic. Yeah. Um, so if
So
you
if
if you got
anybody
$1,000 laying around, worth your time.
anybody's looking for the books, Rob Cody.
Rob Cody. He's the guy to go after.
I got insurance coverage on him. I'm all good.
Steal this book.
He's the other Cody Fisher, though. He's the other one.
Yeah, I heard the other guy's a lawyer though, so
Anything you wanted to ask Paul when you're on here too? Obviously, we know you love Paul's work. You have a lot of his books. At least the friends in the lounge know that. But anything you wanted to ask him publicly? Because I know that you guys do chat, semi often. So.
yeah, yeah. I mean, this is going to be actually a really off the wall question, but I think it's interesting. Can you talk a little bit about how you put your shows together, and particularly why you group your Professor's Nightmare, for example, in a totally different context than most people? Without, you don't have to get into specifics, but I think it's just shows that you can present something in a way that totally changes the meaning of it. So
the experience of the effect. So usually if I'm starting, say, an hour-long performance, oftentimes what I want to start with is chopped cup or either cups and balls, depending on how big the audience is. And the reason for that is when I look at Fiskey's list or any of these other people, and there's transformation, transposition, vanish, appearance, levitation. And so when I think about what of these can you get across to the audience the fastest, really probably levitation would be, you can come floating out, but then what are you going to do for your second effect? And so then as I continue looking at that list, what I've settled on is production. I think that as a magician, I'm not famous or anything, so if I'm going out and performing for people, oftentimes it's their first time seeing me. And I may have some accolades that they'll throw out at the beginning, but they don't know who I am. But I know in the back of their mind, they're probably thinking something along the lines of, is he good? Is he going to fool me? What's going to happen here? And so if I can have a production really fast that there's nothing and then there's something there, it's a very, very powerful beginning, I think, to start building your credentials. And what I'll start doing again is these classics. I want to move to the mentalism, and as some of you know with my material and my show, then at the end is where I want to start moving toward like self-working material and really hands-off material to really solidify that I never touched anything throughout the whole thing, although the first of the show is all about sleight of hand. And how I was talking about these transitioning between the classic magic and the mentalism, sometimes I'll put the Professor's Nightmare in there, and it does seem like such a strange thing, but I present the Professor's Nightmare often as an act of mass hypnosis on the audience. So I say, some of the things that I do is sleight of hand and other things is audience management. Part of it has to do with hypnosis. How many of you have ever been hypnotized before? And now I'll go into this routine, but the ropes changing and growing and shrinking is the proof that they're under my spell, so to speak. And I play it like that as if it's really happening, and I think it's fun for people to experience that and come along for a ride like that.
Great question from Cody Fisher. Always thinking about magic, always trying to figure out the small details. I love that about Cody. So thank you, Cody, for calling in. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
The other side of you, and we're going to keep talking about, the classics and how they play today, but also the other side of you that some may not know, that, you had the honor and the privilege of studying under one of the best magicians that's ever lived, Johnny Thompson, which is just unfreaking.
I truly believe that John's probably the greatest magician that ever lived. And not only John, I feel blessed to have studied with Channing Pollock, with Eugene Berger, Daryl. There's a lot of people I learned from that aren't here with us anymore. And there's a lot of people I learned from that are still here with us. And I still hope to learn even more. I'm still buying the books, as you can see back here. But John was fantastic. And as a kid, I grew up working in a magic shop and hanging around a magic shop. And it was right about the time that VHS tapes first started coming out. And John had put out the 3 L&L series. What was it called? The Classics of Magic or something. And I just fell in love with John, and being a fan of Star Wars, he really was kind of a Yoda type character. And to me, I felt like he was the real master of the masters, and never did I think that I would get to know him or that he would come to be my best friend. But I moved out here to Vegas, and just soon after moving here, I have a friend that was also a friend of John's, and introduced me to him, and we sat down at his kitchen table. And at that time, I had a lot of original magic, so I was able to sit down with John and for a few hours to show him a bunch of stuff that he'd never seen before. And it really cemented our relationship. And for the next 25 years, we were inseparable. And I would always say, John, you mean so much to me. You're like a friend, a father, a grandfather, a brother. And he would say, oh, well, stop it with that grandfather shit. One of the things that I would always do with John is tease him about being old, because he would be one of the first ones to tell you getting old's hard. It's not easy. And so every year for his birthday, I would get him a birthday cake, and I would add a few years onto it. So say he was turning 79, well, I'd put happy 83rd birthday,
That's awesome.
And he'd open it up, and he'd be so happy because he'd have this big box cake. And then as soon as he would read it,
Oh, that's great, man. Yeah. See, we're learning stuff already that we didn't know before about.
John was, being an older gentleman. He wasn't the type of friend that you punch in the arm or you try to trip like that. I would never, ever try to do something like that to him. But one thing that ended up becoming an end of fresh air at the end of John's time here with us was Mullica moving back into town. And so the last few years, it was, Tom Mullica, John, and myself hanging out quite often. And Mullica really would mess with John hard and do things that I never would imagine doing. And oh my gosh, it would make me laugh so hard that he would, push the master's buttons the way that he would. For instance, one thing, John always would answer the phone. If we were at Mullica's having dinner, Tom would not answer the phone if food was on the table. But no matter what, if the phone rang, John would get up and somebody would start asking him about magic. And the next thing you know, he's been in the room for 2 hours. We've all ate dinner. The food's gone, right? And so one thing that Mullica would start to do, Tom, is he would get the remote control to the TV, and every minute that John would sit on the TV, he'd start turning it up more and more. And because John had the hearing aids in and was hard of hearing, he wouldn't realize that after a few minutes, he was yelling at the top of his lungs to this person on the other end of the line.
You guys had too much fun, it sounds like. Oh my God. So the relationship that you had was unique, eclectic, interesting.
Well, I
Um,
mean, I think he was 84 when he passed away, and it was 5 years ago, just a few days ago.
right.
But even a few weeks before he died, it was literally 3 o'clock in the morning, and he called me and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "No, I'm just sitting here shuffling cards." And he's like, "All right, I'm on my way over." Like, that's how we hung out. Like, we were two 17-year-old kids, you know?
Love it.
Um, yeah, I sure miss him a lot, and I miss those times and, late night calls and jamming like that.
Well, you know, part of what he left behind wasn't just his magic and the methods and all that fun stuff, but he also left behind this passion and love for magic, and you continue to carry that torch. For and one of the first chats that we did recently, kind of getting back in the swing of interviews again, was I had my very first mentor on this show about a month ago, and it's an important topic to me. And you're obviously talking about this mentoree relationship. Um, for those that are looking either to get a mentor or to possibly mentor someone, do you have any advice? Let's just say if you're looking for a mentor, what would you suggest people do, or if there's any just general advice about mentors that you'd like to share
Well,
for them?
it's funny because just last week I did start working with a student here in town. He's a young kid. He's just about to turn 16. Maybe he might be on here because last week he said he wanted to find a magic community, and I did tell him to come on Facebook and to join this group.
Cool.
And we had our first lesson last week, and who knows where it will go. I think that he was a good student. I mean, that's the first thing. Is sometimes I show up and I think, is this kid even going to want to pay attention? Because I know a lot of kids, piano lessons, this, that, the other. It's not really what they're into. Maybe they're doing it for somebody else. But if you love magic, or if you love music and you do get a, I think it can really help you. Like, I grew up working in a magic shop, so I was able to see a lot of the products that were out. But I think one thing that a mentor can really help a young student with is at the beginning, it seems like you have so many tributaries going out. But as you move through magic, you kind of realize what method you like and which one of these rivers that you should take to offer more fruition. For instance, with my students, I would never advocate to buy a lot of mechanical equipment. Like, the more magic that I want to teach is based on psychology and skill, because those things will stick with you and you can beat yourself up over those things. And that's why I've given those things up, is when I was a teenager performing magic and finding all these different avenues and the avenues that didn't work. Oftentimes I had these apparatus and props, and they didn't work for me at the time that I needed them to work. And that would really beat me up, but I couldn't beat the prop up. Where I learned over time where I could rely on my skill. And if I practice enough and hard enough, the chances of me messing up are going to be very, very slim.
Mhm.
And I'd rather have that in my under my domain than waiting for the prop to fail for me.
Right. Well said. And that is cool that you picked up someone to mentor recently, and it will be interesting to see where that goes for sure.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. And like I said, being part of Cannons is yeah, and God, there's been just some great kids that have come out of there.
yeah.
Excuse me. The nice thing that I see also about Cannons is these kids find their friends that they work with forever. Like, not all of them are going to become the famous magician, but some of them are.
Oh, got a little signal bump. We'll just let that
The other
catch you. Oh, there you go. Cool.
of brotherhood. And I really applaud that. I think it's really, really awesome.
Um, and the other thing about kind of the mentorship type of thing is that in Vegas, it's not necessarily a mentor thing, but there is the resurgence. You were sharing this with me yesterday of the Darwin Magic Club is starting to kind of
Yeah,
get legs again, which is really
yeah.
exciting to hear. You want to talk a little bit about the
So
Darwin Club?
Gary Darwin is the namesake, I guess you would say, of our club here. It's now under the auspice of Alan Ackerman, though, is the head of it. On Gary passed away a couple of years ago, and he asked Alan to please keep the club alive, which he's done. But we are in our 53rd year now, and we meet every Wednesday at around 9 p.m. And we just moved it to a different, over the years, even since I've been here for 20 something years, it's been at a handful of different clubs and places. And some bars just, they come, they go. But where it's at now is a bar called Putters. It's also a restaurant, and one of the reasons that they put it at Putters is so that people that are underage could also come there. And it's on Pecos, which is just east of the airport here in Las Vegas, so pretty central. And there's been about 40 people that have been showing up every Wednesday now, so it's turned into quite a big club again. I remember when I first moved here again 20 something years ago, like every magician in town was there on Wednesday night. Like, did you ever make it to Boomers, Luke? Were you here?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember meeting Louis. Louis was there at the time.
Louis Siminoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, another teacher that was an incredible mind, incredible magician, an incredible guy. I mean, I don't think anybody that ever met Louis he didn't make an impact on yet. A lot of these younger people don't know Louis or some of the um, some of the routines that he's given to magic, like the rock in the shoe is Louise, and that
Mhm.
drop change is Louise. There's a lot of stuff in those early Paul Harris books and early Alan Ackerman books that have some great material of Louise in there.
Yeah. And it's just nice to know that it's still going to be a thing. Even all these years later, continuing the club. It's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and 53 years. And another nice thing about our club here in town is it's one of the only non-affiliated magic clubs in the world.
Right.
So you don't have to become a member of it. You don't have to do a tryout for it. Just anybody who has an interest in magic, whether they're professional, amateur, aficionado, collector. And, we do have a few people that come there and sell magic. We have a couple of magic dealers that are there each week. So even if you're looking for something, if it's not there, they'll probably be able to get it for you the next week, which is nice. And it's just a great place to also trade, uh, share, grow, all of those things.
Yep. Absolutely. And as Paul mentioned, it's still the man in charge these days is Alan Ackerman. So even if you show up and there's not 40 people, you're still going to be around one of the, you know.
Yeah, Alan, Jeff McBride's, been there just about every week. It's a really, really good crew. I hope to see. I saw Bob Kohler there last week. I haven't seen Bob Kohler in quite a while. It's nice to see him.
Yeah. It's lots of
We
lots of
actually
people.
had um, Norberto Johansson in from Mexico, and he actually did about a half-hour performance for us all last week, which was nice and pleasant too.
Oh wow. So you guys coming into town, whether it's
Like
during a magic
tomorrow,
convention or whatever, just pop by. Yeah.
yeah, Wednesday night. He said in its 53rd year, it's a great, great, great club to be affiliated with.
Yep. Um, I wanted to jump into something that I know that you're fond of. Obviously, we can see your background kind of tells that. You've got a lot of books back there, a lot of great memorabilia. Actually, what are some of the pieces that you wanted to? You showed me a couple of things before this that you wanted to kind of talk
So
about.
right there's the big Buddha that Channing Pollock gave to me,
It's
which
awesome.
is cool. And right next to the Buddha, you can see my tribute to Vernon.
Hmm.
Right. I got a couple of awards up there. There's toys that I've got from Buckethead, and something else that I brought out for Luke earlier that I thought I'd show you guys too. This is actually Vernon's close-up mat that he had at the end of his life right here. This is the one that he performed on.
Love it, man.
It's kind of like a rug. It's got a rubber back on it, and it's one of my prized possessions.
And you guys heard right. Di Vernon's close-up pad. That was it. One of the last ones he used. There you go. Yep. And this is something else too that I'm glad someone brought up. Brian McCaber, I think is how you pronounce his last name. Clocking the deck teaching was spot on. You know, you're one of the few people. I remember it's diplopia, right? That was kind of one of those little like under the radar things because it's not easy. It's tough, right?
Yeah. Well,
So.
To do it effectively, you really want to have that down to about 10 or 15 seconds at the very most.
Yeah.
And, you know, the thing is if you drop all, you know, jacks, queens, kings, and tens, and you only deal with ace through 9, and they've removed one of those, you really only have 17 numbers that are under 10 that you need to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And the main thing with it is just learning those patterns. And there's only so many patterns because they flip after 5 from one way to the other. So you want to learn like 8 and 2, mm-hmm. and 7 and 3, and then, you know, 4 and 6, you know, the opposite way as well. And again, there's only so many patterns. And what you find, or what I find, is as I spread in a clump, I'm taking in a chunk of a pattern and then another chunk of a pattern and another chunk of a pattern. And I can do that, you know, in 4 or 5 spreads. I'm already at the end of the deck, you know.
So I know that there were people asking.
It's not the partial differential equation. It's 17 numbers that are under 10. The thing is if you're off by 1, then the complete trick is a failure.
No.
There is no off by 1 here.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
the other nice end of the spectrum is when your math is solid, you know that it works 100% of the time as well.
Right.
I remember pulling everybody when I first came out with that. Like, I remember showing up to Magic meeting for weeks, and Kenner every week at the Wednesday meeting would say, all right, do it for me again. And he'd bring a deck the next week and he'd be like, all right, I brought a brand new deck. Let me see it again. And I do it again. And you walk away, and next week, all right, do it again. Can you borrow some?
Oh, man.
Sandy says he's got Louis Simonoff's pad. That's awesome.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then we have Michael Mayo, who's a huge collector, and he says he collects Vernon Association pieces as well. And that mat is fantastic. He's a little jealous of your Di Vernon close-up mat over there.
One other thing is I actually have all of the signed Vernon books that were in the Jenny collection. And what was nice is when I first moved here through Lee Asher, I never got to meet Larry, but I met BJ, his widow. And Lee was helping her out and taking care of her here and there. And as I moved here, he introduced me and said, you know, could you help her out if she needs anything? So when I first moved here, I didn't really know anybody. And BJ and I ended up becoming great friends and hanging out quite often. And she'd always try to offer me money for taking her to the store or helping her out with her taxes, whatever it was, right? And I'd always just say, no, I'm all right. And she'd try to offer me some books or something. And I'd always say, no. Well, one thing I didn't know is that she was always writing this stuff down in a diary. And years after she passed away, the family came and visited me while I was performing in Texas. And they said, oh, we've all been passing around Mom's book, and she talked so much about you and how you checked up on her every day. And we didn't really know what to do with all this magic stuff. So we just decided to bring it to you and give it to you. And so I ended up with, you know, a bunch of cool stuff that I never thought would ever end up in my possession.
Wow. That is so cool. I'm a huge Jennings fan. So
yeah, me too.
Yeah. Damn, that's cool.
And BJ was a character. If anybody ever knew her, she was a real feisty, you know, probably about 4'7" and just a feisty redhead.
Oh boy, the redhead. Oh no, that'll do it.
one of the stories that she told me that was great is that she would mess with Vernon is Jeopardy was on 2 times in the morning. It was on at like 10 in the morning and that's when she got up and she watched it, and then it was Vernon's favorite show. And I guess that it came on at 2 or 3 later on in the day, but it was the same episode, and Vernon didn't know that. And so BJ would watch it in the morning, and then Vernon would get up later in the afternoon, and she said she'd be in the kitchen making him eggs and toast and whatever, and she'd hear on the other end, what year was blah blah blah, and 1684, she'd yell out, and she said Vernon would just, BJ, we've got to get you on the show.
Oh, that's great. Oh my God. Too good.
Vernon thought BJ Jennings was a true genius. She knew every Jeopardy answer.
Oh man. You're talking about inheriting, some books and stuff. I've got a big question for you here that I think a lot of friends out there are actually going to really sit up and take notice of. If you could recommend, and I know it's going to be a tough, and if it's not 3, we can go a couple more, but if you had to choose 3 books to recommend to people, I know that you were kind enough in the day to share with me the David Berglis book. You and I had first met for the first time, obviously. I was talking about some stuff I was working on, and you just blindly said, "Hey, I'll send you the Berglis book." And if you guys know, it's not a little one. It's a big ass book. But what books would you recommend to people based on the things that you do performance wise? As we
So,
started out earlier, the classics, bringing those forward.
Is a fantastic book.
The Berglis book, right?
It's not something that I would probably recommend for somebody to start with.
Right.
But I think once you have a vision of your magic, what the Berglis book can do, or what it did to me, is it made me feel like I was dreaming too small. Because some of his stuff is just so grandiose, and it's just fantastic to read and fantastic to know that somebody pulled the things off that were in there, and just but again, it's not somebody like me that goes into a room that doesn't have any helpers. He's got a whole team of people that are working for him, right? But if I had to pick some books, one of them, and I'm real excited that there's a new one coming out, is Greater Magic. And inside of Greater Magic, of course, are wonderful, wonderful secrets. There's a lot of stuff in there that I don't think people are necessarily going to perform anymore. But as a kid, those were some of the first books that I found at the library. And what they installed in me was magic having a sense of elegance and poetry and higher vision and people talk about when they get expert at the card table, and all of a sudden they have to, or not expert, what's the Erdnase one? The expert at the card table, right? And that they had to look up so many words in there. But if you had started on Greater Magic, then that one was easy. Just the locution that Hilliard had in there is fantastic, and some of the writing at the beginning I just think will stand the test of time forever for us. So Greater Magic is one, but it's only because of the sense of the grandiosity of magic and the beauty of it. Some of the other books, though, probably Expert at the Card Table, the Hilliard and Broway one. I really think if you probably sat down as somebody that didn't know anything about card magic and learned everything in that book, you'd be pretty damn good at going into a room and entertaining people. You'd have quite a few tools at your disposal, especially with Greater Magic. Taking something like the Toon Deck, and not the Toon Deck, the presentation, but the Toon Deck, the idea of using different rotating key cards and crimps is, can really put you into the advanced class of magic, and then taking some of those classic plots and routining them into something that's your own. Another book that really had a deep impact on me was Barry Richardson's first book, Theater of the Mind. And it was just so diverse in method and plot and effect that it was just one of those books I felt that stretched me more than I had been stretched at that point. I think all the Paul Harris books are amazing. All the Apocalypse are amazing. Bascom Jones' Magic. Those are some of the things that I really enjoyed reading and growing up with.
On a side note, we had a couple questions coming in
Yeah.
now while we're talking about books. Um, how about unheralded books? How about some books that are just super low key that people may not have even some of that underground funk? I love the trapdoor stuff. That's for me. That's a
I
fun
have
one.
the trapdoor does have some fun stuff in it. Um, Let me look over here for 1 second.
Yeah, this is fun, man. Thanks for going through the library. And to you guys out there, if you have any questions for Paul, cheers. Number one, thanks for being here. But drop them in the chat. We've also got the link we're posting right now in the comments as well. You can actually call in like Cody did earlier and ask Paul a question or just say hello. We'd love to have you guys pop on as well. So don't be shy. And I see Mike Hankins had a great question as well. We'll get to Mike's question after this. But yeah, it is nice to know that Greater Magic's actually going to be
Here's one. Here's one that I never really hear people talk about. That's got some great thinking in it, I think.
interesting. Okay. Cool. Good pick. Paul Vigil approved.
Yeah. And I can't say that I perform anything out of it. It's just that as I read through it, I really liked the way that the guy presented the things and the way
Cool.
the methods that he used and the thinking that he applied to it. Most all the books that I have here, again, I started working in a magic shop when I was 14.
Right.
And so I got to read all of the books growing up, but I only kept the good ones, and this is only one room of books. If you've been here to my house, there's actually 3 other rooms that I have full of magic books as well.
Love it. Another good question here, and then we'll get to another question from Brian, but this one from Mike Hankins. This is a great one here. In your opinion, who are the top 3 card magicians that are still alive? Good luck. Good luck with that, Paul.
I mean, as far as skill, I'd have to put my buddy Jared Koff up there. I mean, he can, all of those moves, the bottoms, the centers, the seconds, he can do that stuff just slicker than slick. God, that's hard to say. I don't want to leave anybody out either. I mean, I have to applaud Aussie Wind. He just did a show that's all card magic, and though I didn't see the show, I do see Aussie. He's part of the Cannons camp too, so each summer we get to hang out there for at least a week, and I see part of the performances that he does there, which I don't know exactly what's inside of the show, but I'm sure there's some other stuff. I just saw somebody put Jason England up there. Jason England is no slouch. Speaking of, I mean, definitely somebody that I would put up there that, and this just gives me a story to brag about my friend too, is Alan Ackerman, because we know that his books just came out, and I have those here that Alan just brought over and signed to me, which was nice. And Alan Ackerman's card used to say, I don't know if it still does, the Las Vegas card expert. And I don't know how many people could put that on their business card and not it be like, oh, all right. But Alan, if you're working on a card plot, I guarantee if you go jam on it with Alan Ackerman, he's going to have 50 variations and different ideas and plots and moves to apply to it that you would not ever thought of. He's got deep pockets, Alan Ackerman, some of the deepest in card magic, and a real treasure to have here in Las Vegas. Yeah, and a great friend.
David First also mentioned in Steve Forte.
I just had breakfast with Steve Forte not long ago, and again, that guy does stuff that is just incredible. Another great friend of mine is, who's no longer with us, but was a friend of many in the magic community here, was Rod the Hawk, Rod D, and he wasn't really a magician. He was a real cheat, a real card mechanic, and again, I'm sure some of you have seen the footage of him on YouTube and what he can do. But I can tell you a great story about when we first. I'm at the Magic Club, and there's Ackerman's there, and this guy shows up, Rod, and he kind of hangs out with Ackerman, but he's in the corner and he smokes cigarettes, and he kind of just looks around at what people are doing. And Armando Lucero and I are at the pool table at Magic meeting, and we're doing that Macmillan switch, the blackjack switch of 2 cards for 2 cards. And this guy's over there smoking the cigarette, and he's looking both ways, and he comes over to Armando and I and says, can I show you something with that? And Armando goes to slide the cards and the pad over to him, and he goes, and he slides the pad back and says, I don't need that, and just sits there and continues smoking his cigarette. And Armando and I are waiting. We're waiting. We're waiting. And Armando says, are you going to do it? And he says, I already did. And when he moved the pad and the cards, he already did it.
Oh, that's epic, dude. That is freaking awesome.
Yeah, great story. And I mean, again, I've seen him do things with cards that I don't know if I'll ever see another person do.
Mhm.
You know, like he would hand me the deck of cards that he used, that he cut. And I've played with short decks my whole life, and like I couldn't even. I know your fingertip is so sensitive. If I put a hair on the table and I run my fingertip across it, I'll know when I hit that hair. But the work that he would put into his cards was so fine. I literally could not discover it. Could not discover it.
Wow.
He was 1 in a million guy. God, I got some footage of these guys that I met in China. So I'm in inner China in Kunming, and my translator tells me, "Look, when we get here, I'm probably not even going to know what these people are saying because there's so many different dialects there." And we get there, and this gentleman's telling me and my guy that I'm with, 3 cards, 3 cards, and you know, da 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 da. And my lady's like, I'm not sure exactly. He's got a friend. He can take 3 cards and put him into his sleeve or something like that. And he's like, he wants us to go and meet him. And I said, well, do we have anything to do today? And he's like, not really. So I'm like, all right, well, let's go. He takes us into the city, and you know, probably to the 65th floor of this building, and the door opens up, and it's kind of like Forday's house where there's gambling tables. And I meet this young man in there though, and gosh, I could show you the footage of this guy, and he's not using a holdout or anything. He's using a slit sleeve. So he has a sleeve that's got silk inside of it that's very smooth. And as he's dealing cards and he's picking them up, he's putting them into his sleeve and taking them out of his sleeve, and it is invisible to see. You cannot see it at all, no matter how close you watch it. He does it over and over and over. Now, these weren't moves that were card magic moves, and these guys that do this gambling, they only have to really have 1 or 2 moves in order to move ahead and work. But what's interesting about these guys is they couldn't get caught with equipment, or who knows what would happen to them with jail sentences or even worse, right?
So the people that you were talking about, I'm sitting here trying to, envision this. You said you have footage of this. No, we're not going to ask you to show it here, but you have footage of this?
Yeah, maybe I could show it to you guys. Does anybody want to see it? It's like a minute long.
Yeah. You might want to turn your brightness down on your screen, but because it's your phone. But
Let me see if I.
yeah,
It's surprising.
like the cards are coming, like they're getting cards in the sleeve, but not just in, but they're getting cards out too, which is why I'm trying to like.
And so let me set it up to you because it's if I can find it here, and just so I don't waste time here with it. At the beginning, he's saying I like to sit a little bit lower because when the table, this is what the translator is telling me, when the table is and my arms are at the same level, it's a little bit harder to practice. And so this is the way I like to practice.
I knew this was going to be a great chat, guys. I told you.
I'll find it here. Just give me 1 second. Does anybody have another question that maybe they can ask?
Yeah, I've got a good one here for you. It's a little unrelated to everything. John Hayes wants to know, how do you deal with anxiety and stress? As a performer, everyone's different, but how do you deal with that kind of stuff?
Anxiety and stress, but I feel the adrenaline, which kind of hits you in the same way. You have to learn what the difference is. I think psychologically I could tell myself I have anxiety but really what it is I'm releasing adrenaline. And again, it's just that, I've practiced, most people's number one fear is to go out in front of people and just to stand and talk, right? We have to go out there, we have to perform for people. So our job is very, very difficult. Most people would rather even choose death or being bit by a snake or going to the dentist over talking in front of people. And so the other thing is why I don't wrap it around with anxiety is because this is what I love. And so why would I have anxiety about showing people something that I love? Mm-hmm. Does that make any sense?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Here's a quick one for you while you're still browsing through. When's your new book coming out? First, I didn't even know you were working on a new book. This is from Josh Chaikin. I think that's how you pronounce his name, Chaikin. Yeah.
I want it to be done as soon as possible, and I have most of the writing done for it. I have a lot of editing to do. I have pictures that I need to take.
And to follow up, obviously, I know this answer, but if people want to grab your other books, Paul, where can they find those other books that you've published?
Good luck.
That's why Cody was on here bragging about having multiple copies of your books, because you don't even have some of those books yourself.
I know.
Oh, man. Too funny. Let's see.
Be patient with me for 1 second, because I know if I show this to you, you will be very impressed.
Well, and if you want to send it to me too, I could put it up on the screen. But
I can definitely do that.
Yeah, we could also probably check it out on your phone. Let's see what else is.
How do I go to just see video on my phone? Oh wait, I think I found it. They changed the layout here in iPhone, and I haven't been here.
Yeah. Here's
long.
A question from Michael Mayo. With the books you're mentioning being older, do you find the older books more valuable to your learning creative process?
I don't want to really take something that somebody's has out new right now and try to work on it and make it better. I'd rather look at one of those old books and think, like, what can I do to make this better now? Or what slights are there now, or better thinking in psychology that can be applied to this to make it more deceptive now?
Yeah. We also have a call-in guest while you're grabbing that. We have Austin here. At least he was here just a moment ago. Austin, are you there? There he is.
Yeah, you're there. Hey, guys.
Hi, Austin.
Hi, nice to meet you, Paul.
Pleasure's mine.
So I just had a question for you and about your books. So what is your reasoning behind only publishing like one print run of your books and then that's that?
Well, part of it is I do everything myself, right? And so having 500 books show up to my house pretty much takes up my kitchen and my living room. And the first thing I do is get out of here as fast as I can. The other thing is I just would rather keep it limited of the material that's inside of there. Like, there's a lot of magic that people can go and buy, and I'd rather have them go and, have that stuff. Some of the stuff that I'd rather just have a little bit more exclusive.
That makes sense. And there was this one other thing I wanted to ask you. I'm not sure I just want to know if you agree or disagree with it. Because I know when Weber puts stuff out,
When who?
Michael Weber.
Uh-huh.
When he puts stuff out, I mean, and Marlowe did this too. He kind of he publishes it just to publish it, so that he can claim the credit, which is fine. But my issue with that is, well, if you want to get credited for it, why not make it more broadly available so that people know you did it? Do you see that as conflicting with wanting to maintain it as exclusive?
Well, it's a fine balance. Um, and again, I don't know the answers really. Um, the other thing is that I assume is everything is everything is going to be available sooner or later. I do think that there's something to that hacker model that all information wants to be free. And so really it's my way to hold on to it and cash in on it as much as I can before it just goes out and it's out of my control as well. Right? Because even now I'm sure people could go and find pirated copies of my book if they wanted. And I don't really like, not that I'm into that, but I don't have the time to go and stop it either. And part of the way that I assault myself with the outcome of that is something that my friend who I brought up earlier, Lee Asher, told me once when we were younger. And he said there's two kind of people that steal magic. There's those people that print it out and they put it on their shelf and they never look at it again and never perform it and never learn it. They just want to know that they have it there. And the other person is perhaps maybe a kid that really does have an interest in magic and really wants to learn. And if you had a chance to sit down with this kid and you saw his passion, you'd share it with him anyway.
Wow, I never heard it put that way before.
But doesn't it make it easy to do this and be like the Buddha?
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, Luke, I sent that off to you in an email.
Oh, we got it. Okay. Well, let me. I'll let you guys.
One thing that I would appreciate with that though is don't put any volume on it because I don't know what they're saying in the background and I don't know if there's anything that could give anything away. But if you put it up there on the screen, what I'll do is I'll give the give the give you the replay on what's going on here, the Howard Cell.
Okay. You sent that where?
Luke Dancy at something.
Luke Dancy at something. Is it Luke at lukedancy.com maybe? Let me check the old emails real quick, Paul Vigil. Let me check the old.
Yeah, you need to get that stuff all sent to one spot.
Yeah, I hope it went to me because I don't have any emails either. Are you able to drop it into the messenger that we were using?
Drop it into the messenger.
The Facebook Messenger. I don't know if you use that on your computer or on your phone.
I'm on my phone. How would I do that? Maybe I can. Let me see. Give me your phone number.
Okay, I'll do that through the. I'll do that through the messenger. I'm not doing that.
I gotta bring this down, man.
Let me come over here.
Facebook Messenger or iMessage.
There we go. I just sent it on Facebook Messenger because I'm not about to give out my old 8675309 on here. All right, let's give Paul a sec. I think he's multitasking here. Preparing to copy that number. Waiting. Yeah. Kenneth, and asked Tom Mulligan, how does he handle nerves? Tom said he never understood why magicians get nervous before a show. Why be nervous about something you love to do? Yeah. We do love this stuff. Yeah. Sometimes we get nervous energy, though. Nervous energy.
Okay, I sent it to you now.
Okay. Oh, on my phone. Okay. Give me a sec here.
Are you there?
I am here, Paul Vigil. Let me.
Oh, I'm frozen.
No, you're back. Let me see. Let me turn off the volume. All right, I may need to download this to my phone. Give me a sec here. All right. And we lost Paul for a sec. So hang tight, guys. It sounds like this is definitely going to be worth the wait. So hang tight while we get Paul. There he comes back on in here, Paul.
Sorry, I froze there. I didn't know if I was frozen on your end too.
Ah, you're good, man. Okay, I think I got this. Let me just double check. Alrighty, I'm gonna drop this to my computer.
And then you can put it up there full screen for everybody.
Yeah. But like you said, I'll do it without any audio.
Yeah, please.
Yes. Okay. So let me see. I think it's sent. Yes, it is. All right. So Paul, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to this shot of you, and then I'm going to add this along with this shot. So give me just a second here. And I think, yep, this is it. And we're going to add it. And I'm going to pause it.
He's at a table here, and what my translator is telling me, he's sitting on a water jug there. And he's saying that I'm going to sit a little bit lower here. And you see he's moving like this because he says it's a little bit more difficult. And I like to practice when I'm at this angle right here. But what I really want you to pay attention to is that ace of spades that's sitting there.
I'm going to bring you down here. How about that?
Uh-huh. So watch that ace of spades. And now look, it's gone.
What?
And now watch it come back right now. It's back. And now watch it. Right? And now watch it come back.
All right, hold on. One more Uno Mas. All right. Damn.
There's no wrist break. There's no sense of momentum on the cards.
What in the hell is
Very
going
good,
on? What? So Paul, the technique that he's using there, is this a obviously we're not gonna, you're not gonna show how to do it, but is that in print somewhere? Is that something people can go after?
Well, that's a gambling technique. That's called the slick sleeve. Yeah.
The slip sleeve?
Slick.
Slick sleeve. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And so it's got like mole hair inside of the sleeve inside of there. That's very slippery. But as you can see, that guy was a master of it. And anyways, he was a very nice guy, and he did some of his gambling stuff for me, and I did some of my magic. But he thought the magic technique was kind of funny, and I thought the magic technique was kind of funny too compared to what he was doing, like double lifts and Elmsley counts. Like, this is something on a different level, and I'm not interested in learning this because it's not something that I would use.
Yeah.
But when you talk about people that have skill with cards and having anxiety, this is probably where I would feel it.
Wow. Holy shit, man. Well, thank you for sending me that. Thank you guys for your patience while we got that doctored up.
Your patience too, but
damn.
I mean, if you sat down at the table with that guy, you'd never even see it coming. You wouldn't even know that it happened. Your money would just be gone.
There was zero tension in there too. Zero tension.
Right. And so I would see Rod the Hop, he could do stuff like that, but Rod, he was a master of a holdout, as many magicians know. And but it looked very, very similar to that, and what he did achieved similar results as doing that, right? But like I said, and I told these kids, I got a friend back home that does the same, but he's got a machine. And these kids were like, oh yeah, we can't use any of, if we get caught with anything, we probably might not ever get seen again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's the thing. People like Rod, I mean, he was doing that shit for real. While it was fun around us, I mean, he was actually.
Yeah. And the thing about Rod, though, is he told me that he stole billions of dollars for the casinos. When he was young, he was hired by the mob to work for the casinos and steal for them. So he was on the other side of it for a lot of years,
Wow. Do you think they're still doing that? Do you think the casinos still try to cheat us? Do you think that?
I don't know. I mean, how would you know? You'd think not, you know, and but they always find some scam that people are doing. I mean, the, it's not like they stopped having security at casinos.
Mm-hmm.
And I have seen some stuff through my friend George Joseph. He's one of the people here in town that looks for the cheaters, and he's shown me some stuff with cameras that are in like um, cufflinks,
Mm-hmm.
right? Can watch the cards go by as they're shuffled, you know, and like to us, it's like, but it's a computer, it can slow it down where it's tick, 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 and take a, and in 1 second tell you which cards to hit on, you know, when to stay, when to move. Um, they catch people with equipment like that all the time.
Mm-hmm. That's wild, man. Um, as we start to wrap up, because we've hit the hour mark, um, I wanted to kind of circle back around to where we started, which is about the classics of magic. And I would just love for you to kind of drop some nuggets here on one, why they're so important, and two, what people can do to help continue to keep those classics alive. Because we all stand on the shoulders of giants. It's cliche, I get it, but it's true. But when it comes to that topic, I would love for you to
Yeah,
speak to
I
that.
mean, I just think that a lot of these classic plots, they're just inherently good. Like, uh, they have those theatrical beats that I'm looking for in a routine, like a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I talk about this often when I lecture because I see a lot of good magic, but oftentimes I see one phase that, all right, that's good, but I want to see more now. And it comes down to the first time you witness a magical effect, it hits you with surprise. But when you know it's going to happen again and then again, now you have anticipation for that effect, which is a deeper emotion. And so, say I'm thinking about the Matrix, right? Because they see a coin go across, and now a second coin, and now a third coin. And so, it also comes down to a lot of these classics follow certain, if you back up from the effect, you'll see that they follow a certain map. And it's a map that I like a lot as well. And it's part of having repeat, doing the effect more than multiple times. And the map is that one, you're with me, you get it, right? Guess what's coming next? Two, you get where we're going. Come on, come on, come on, you're with me. Guess what comes next? Three. All right, we're on a roll, we're on a roll. What comes next? And right when they're about to say four, you bring them back to one again. So this has like Professor's Nightmare, or a rebound on a matrix, or a rebound with a card effect. So um, oftentimes it's not the effect, it's again the overall map that these effects can bring, because again they have I find an inherent middle, beginning, and end in them. Like, for if I was to take the egg bag, there's three phases in it. And the first phase is really a pseudo phase because you're explaining to the audience about the routine, but the whole time you're talking about using sleight of hand, which, first off, you're leading them down the false path, because although you are going to be using some sleight of hand, of course, the trick is going to be more mechanical when it gets to the classic parts of it, right? And the second phase, the egg vanishes and reappears, but it all happens while it's in your hands, while the bag and the egg are in your hands. And so now you do it again for a third time, but this time the egg vanishes and reappears while they're holding the bag, right? And so again, I have this beginning, middle, and an end, which I really, really like a lot. And just to give you a negative on this, like, I see a lot of magic on uh, Facebook, or demos that I see from the magic companies, and I always feel like that's a great beginning, or it may be a great end, or it may be a great middle, but they're just not giving me a complete picture of what I want with all of those beats and elements. And so that's oftentimes what I find that takes the longest to work on, is finding one of these plots that you can stretch out and have some time to play with it. Like again, Luke, you know, almost every effect that I do, there's not one phase to it.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts on that. Obviously, if you guys would like to see Paul performing some of the classics, be sure to see him.
Yeah, I'll be at the castle here in a few weeks. I'd love to see some of you there. Old friends, come say hi. New friends, come say hi.
Yeah. Any timeline on your book? I know we kind of glossed over that, but
No, I wish that I did have a timeline, and I keep wanting to push myself toward it, but then projects come up that I need to spend my time working on. And
yeah,
right now, I am coming up on where I am going to have some free time. So I'm kind of like ramping my engine up and like, all right, it's time to get back down to work on this thing. It's the other thing is I've been working on it for so many years, and then COVID came and it kind of took the wind out of me working on this project as much as I wanted to, you know. And so I need to get that inspiration and spirit coming again. And I just need to start getting in there and jumping into the material because there is some great stuff in there. And once it's out there, you guys are going to love this book. And just to tell you guys a little bit about it, it's a book that will be coming out that's only on one plot. It's only on thought of card. From one person to two people to three people to a room full of people to being on stage. But it's just the one plot, the thought of card. And I know that there's a lot of great methods out there, for instance, like tossed out deck. But what I wanted was a lot of diverse thinking in this book, and also not that maybe you might mark a card or cut the corner on a card, but you don't need to go to somewhere and get anything special. Whatever you need to do within 2 or 3 minutes or 5 minutes, you could put the work in the deck for the effect that you're about to do to be able to proceed.
um, I I know obviously the book's not done yet, but Michael Mayo wanted to know what about a potential price? And the reason he asked is because he needs to set aside money to buy more than one copy.
Yeah,
So
I don't. The last two books I sold at 200. I'll probably do the same thing again. 500 copies at 200.
okay,
This makes it easy for me to do the math, and um, it's a good number. And again, like I just do 500 books because that's about as many as fit into my house with me being able to still have a little pathway to walk through for a month or two until I get rid of them.
right.
And I know there's magic companies out there that do that, but part of being in magic and part of having just my own business and stuff, and like I always do sell some to the magic shop. So there'll be some through Penguin, through Murphy's, through Vanishing Ink. I always throw some to those, but the majority I just want to sell myself. And um, you know, the other thing that I've always done with every project that I have is I know $200 is a lot of money, and I'd rather have somebody as a friend than have their money. And the reason that I've decided to charge that much in the past, and again, I don't know how much this next book will be for sure, but I feel that that's what it would be worth to me. Like if it's got 20 routines in there, then I feel like that's $10 a routine, and like I'd probably pay $200 for one of these routines if it's something that I use forever in my repertoire.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
and so you know, coming again to the business side of things, like somebody was asking me earlier, I don't know all the answers, but I also think like, what am I going to be happy with walking away from myself? Oh, and this brings me to my original thought here was, I always tell people like, look, here's, you know, buy the book, I'll send it to you. If it's not what you want, send it straight back and I'll give you your money back. No questions asked. Like, you know what you like. I might not have what you like. I still want to be your friend, but
Yeah. Well, I think Brian sums it up pretty well, calling you a class act. So,
nah, thanks, Brian.
and we would be honored to sell those as well. We'd be honored to carry those.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely get some to you guys for sure.
Yeah, that would be
But
fun.
again, I don't know when it's going to be. I'd like to say by the end of this year. I'd like to say by sometime in the summer. Like I literally have at least 85% of the work done. I just really need to sit down and crunch down on it. And the other thing is I know that the last run is like a few weeks of not sleeping very much, like being awake 24 hours at a time, because as I'm laying the whole thing out and putting it together, what happens is I don't know the way other people do it, but the longer that I'm working on it, the bigger the picture of it is in my mind. And so I know if I fall asleep, I'm going to have to work 4 or 5 hours the next day to get into that same mental space again. And so once I start working hard on it, then I just want to keep going until it's finished. I'm one of those people where I'm not a good person that, work on the group project, because if they give me a group project, I'd rather stay up for one whole day or 48 hours and do the whole thing and finish it, and then take the next 7 days off.
I like your style. Just get it done.
Yeah.
Well, Paul, I know we went over a little bit tonight.
I wasn't worried about it. I had a great time being here. I hope you guys had a good time again. Thanks for your patience for letting me find that clip, and I hope some of you guys enjoyed it. Some of you might not have ever seen any techniques like that, and they're stunning when you see them executed properly, because you realize, ooh, if I was in that game, I probably wouldn't know what was going on.
Damn right. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to let you run, but I do want to let you know one of the things I'm going to talk about after this. We finally just got these back in. This has the Paul Vigil stamp of approval, the black
Which
door.
one's that?
The black door.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to be talking about
great,
that. Just
a great utility prop for a lot of different effects.
Yeah, it's the real deal. Yeah, cool. Well, Paul,
thank you so much. If anybody has any questions or needs me for anything, please feel free to reach out.
Sounds good.
I can't wait to hang out with all you guys again. We have any conventions coming up anyway, or anything that's bringing people together?
Obviously, we got Magic Live coming up here.
I don't think that's until the fall, early fall, late summer.
Yeah. There is a smaller convention that I know several of our friends are going to be going to in St. Louis. There is the Gateway Convention. Special guest, John Bannon. He's the guest of honor.
Nice. I love John Bannon.
It's the St. Louis Gateway Conventions in April, so that's a smaller one. Tricks will be coming up again at the end of the year. My friend Scott Robinson there in Charlotte. Another great close-up convention. I like those.
Speaking of another book that's, I don't know how obscure it is, but speaking of John Bannon, Dear Mr. Fantasy has some wonderful plots and diverse thinking in there. It really does. It's a book that you're not familiar with. Get that one. It's one of my favorites of Bannon.
Also, some love for your CBS routine from Hungry.
Yeah, it's one of the few effects that I carry around in my pocket all the time.
That is a good one. Also, lots of conventions. Someone says Colin close up this weekend, Pebbles in May. So no shortage of Magic conventions.
Alert from System UI server.
Oh no! What did I do? What did I do to his phone? Hello, Paul. Hello. What did I do? I'm hoping it's gonna kick back up, but I don't know. But we're going to be wrapping up with Paul in a moment. Don't forget, coming up in just a moment here, we've got a little bit of magic news to share with you and our top 3 tricks this week. So don't go anywhere just yet. And we're going to check to see if we hit our goal tonight for our special raffle giveaway for over $300 in magic and mentalism, close-up magic and mentalism. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, I think he might have vanished. Also, good to see Mondre out there, another Las Vegas performer out there. I'd love to have Mondre on here one of these weeks to talk about what he does. He's also does some of the beautiful dove work. Love to talk to him about some of that. So yeah, I think that's his secret exit. I think we're going to go ahead and yep, he is gone. So if he calls back in, we will bring Paul back on. But let's go ahead and jump right quick into some magic news this week. Nope. Let me bring Paul back on. He's calling back in. There he is. And there he is. Paul Vigil has arrived.
Sorry, you guys, I froze on this end, and I couldn't tell if I was froze on your end or not, too.
We're good. We're back. So what were you looking for? You were off to the side grabbing something. What were you doing?
Oh, I was plugging my computer in because it was telling me you're about to run out of juice.
Oh, okay. I thought you were grabbing a book or something. All right. I'm like, what's he got?
Did you guys want to give tacos tonight too? Because I brought tacos here too, but I didn't get a chance to eat them yet.
Taco Tuesday in true fashion, Paul Vigil.
Horchata and tacos.
I've got my Ryan Daniels special, the hard lemonade from the wifey. Cool. Well, Paul, I'm going to let you run, man. Enjoy your tacos. And I hope to see you soon. I'll have to pop by the old Darwin Club and see you over
Yeah,
there.
me too. And I'd love to see some of you others there as well. You're always welcome.
Sounds good. All right. Well, Paul, you'll have a great rest of your night. And thank you again for your time. It is
Take care,
appreciated,
everyone.
sir. All righty, friends. The one and only Paul Vigil in the house, where he was, right? And hope you guys enjoy that. Next week's guest, I'm not going to tell you who it is just yet, or should I? Let me do a little poll here. Should we reveal? Let's do this real quick. Should we reveal next week's guest? Yes. Nope. Not yet. So I will put this up and I will add this and save it. This is on Facebook. We're doing this poll. So we'll just go ahead and run the poll and see what you guys say. Should we tell you who next week's special guest is going to be? I can tell you one thing, you will enjoy them just as much as you probably just enjoyed Paul Vigil. All right. So I'll let the poll run for a moment. Magic news time. We don't reveal. All right. Well, maybe we'll have to hold it back. All right. Time for some magic news, though. And we're going to start it off with a bang. We are talking about some of the biggest piece of news to come out in a while. It is banned. Murray Sawcheck plays victim. He is officially banned from the Magic Castle. He also sent this document to TMZ, who actually decided to feature this video from him talking about why he was banned and playing the victim on why did he get banned from the Magic Castle. Obviously, if you're living under a rock, he's been exposing magic on social media, and it's been a shame. So yes, I know a lot of people saying, who is that former magician? But yeah, he is officially now banned from the Magic Castle, which is something that I wish more organizations would do as well when it comes to letting people buy tickets to these conventions. Some of the big news coming up for you in about 3 weeks' time. Justin Willman is back on Netflix, and he is back with a new show. This is not Magic for Humans. This is the Magic Prank Show, and it's basically, using magic to prank people. And it's going to be debuted on the best day of the week, or the best day of the year, April Fool's Day. April 1st is the debut on that on Netflix. So check that out. That is the Magic Prank Show. Another piece of magic news I wanted to share with you, my friends, is this. Our buddy Dan Sperry was on a early morning talk show in Boston. And I'm going to kill the music because I'm not going to play the whole clip for you, but just the beginning of it just kind of sets the tone for Dan Sperry here on getting up early in the morning for performing magic.
He's an award-winning magician. He's performed live in front of tens of thousands of people across the country.
And they are performing right here in Boston tomorrow. Joining us now, Dan Sperry from Masters of Illusion. Thanks for coming on the Morning Mix.
Oh boy, thanks for waking me up.
Uh-oh. Well, you're
Thanks for waking me up. I gotta hear that one more time. He is one of my favorite people, period.
And they are performing right here in Boston tomorrow. Joining us now, Dan Sperry from Masters of Illusion. Thanks for coming on the Morning Mix.
Oh boy, thanks for waking me up.
So we've got the full clip in the All Things Magic group. It gets better, actually. You thought that was funny, just watch the whole thing. Dan is clearly not a morning person, but he still did what he did in style. Yes, and our guest from last week, Jeff Williams in the house, says, yes, Dan's not a morning person. Maybe. Yeah, maybe not. And thank you again, Jeff, for being our guest on last week's show. If you guys missed that, Jeff talked a lot about the comedy side of magic and scripting your magic, and he dropped a lot of gold. So if you haven't checked that out, you can watch it over there on our YouTube channel. Check that out. Alrighty, the full clip is over there. Also, Brian Sanders, our buddy, I wanted to share this. He was out performing in a gig recently, like a casino night who's doing his thing. I'm going to take a wild guess here. He's probably doing double cross here, maybe, right? That's what's funny. It'd be, funny sometimes if we as magicians could just look at a photo and try to pick up on what they're doing. Here, I'm guessing, I'm not sure yet. This might be the effect where he's holding a card. I don't know. But anyway, Brian out there doing Brian Sanders stuff. BS magic right there. And of course, great reactions. We love Brian Sanders around him, so that was fun too. And we also have this. We talked about this a few weeks ago. Rings from Ben Williams. This is the thing where you tear off the middle of the card and you link it. You can hand it out. Richard Sanders had quite a nice thing to say about rings. We're proud to have this. Of course, it's a download. You can see here, it's a reputation maker. It's a steal, it's a download. He's been around the magic industry for over 30 years, and this is one of the best things he's seen. So wanted to share that with you. He posted this today, actually yesterday. And that's from, yes, the Richard Sanders. That's pretty dope. So that is a little bit of magic news for you right there. I think I got all that. All righty. We're not going to meet our goal tonight. We may end up doing a Star Supporters giveaway here in just a moment. But let's see first what our top 3 magic tricks are this week.
Hold up.
This first magic trick tonight on our top 3 list is actually something that was talked about this morning on the All Things Magic private group. Matthew Miller said, Luke Dancy, I hope you don't plan on stocking Kids Cards 25th anniversary edition so I can keep this unknown gem to myself. Well, too bad. It's number 1 on our top 3 magic tricks this week. Kids Cards is absolutely amazing. It is a whole lot of fun. And as you can see here, you've got the cards that are drawn from kids. But what can you do with it? Well, I'm glad that you asked, because now I get to show you a little bit about what the Kids Cards is. And yeah, enjoy.
Hello. Some children I did a show for, they made me a thank you present. They made me my very own unique pack of cards. They drew all the backs themselves, and they drew their own faces. Well, not their own faces, that would be strange, but on the playing cards they drew the faces as well. Some are easier to work out than others. That would be the 3 of spades, correct? And the hardest one of all is the Queen of clubs, well done. This is what happens when you give 10-year-olds a job. They come back with these very creative solutions, you see. We can still do a card trick with them. Here, if you were to touch one of these cards, say that one for example, you see what it is? Ah, one of my favourites, the 3 of hearts. If we take the 3 of hearts and rub it on the magic vein, which is that one there, then it prints itself, which is quite cute. But it still has a rather strange back design, and the Jack of Spades is in trouble as is the 7 of diamonds and the 8 of hearts. Unless we cast a magical shadow, which is a left-handed move, so I should reposition the cards. That was it. It does now mean the 3 of hearts has this rather pretty back design. Oh, and the Jack of Spades is printed, and the 7, in fact, all the cards have sorted themselves out now. Now we have a deck, we should probably do a card trick with it. Say stop somewhere, please. Just there, perfect. Have a look at the card, I shan't peek. Remember the card, and keep saying it over and over in your mind's voice. Keep saying 4 of diamonds, 4 of diamonds, 4 of diamonds. Was it really? My word. You see, even though these are the perfect playing cards, they're not the cards the children made for me. The cards the kids made for me look much more like this with the strange pictures and the bizarre backs. So I think that's how I'll probably keep it if it's okay with you.
Alrighty, friends, that is magic trick number 1 on our top 3 list. Kids Cards 25th anniversary edition. And as you saw there, this uses new artwork both on the faces and on the backs. And it's language free as well. So you can work this all over the world. The photos on our website are the older photos of the product. They don't have the new ones out yet. But this one is a whole lot of fun and a great plot to go with it. It is now time for our second of our top 3 tricks this week. And this one is the Black Door from Riccardo Berdini. And this one actually has the Paul Vigil touch, which is why I wanted to feature it. And more importantly, I've been trying really hard to get these back in stock for a while. And yes, it is.
Oh, yeah!
Finally back in stock. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. This one is utility device that lets you do some really cool things. I'm going to show you what they are in just a second. It also gets a lot of love from Banachek and Daniel Garcia, among others. So here is exactly what this is. Magic trick number 2 on our top 3 list, Black Door.
My name is Riccardo Berdini, and I'm proud to introduce you Black Door, a revolutionary switch device that you can carry with you all the time and fits in your pocket. Black Door allows you to force whatever you want in the cleanest way possible, hands off. You put a bill, a card, a piece of paper inside the envelope, and you handle it to the spectator. The switch is done.
I put the blank card here, and I ask you to keep the blank card with the envelope in your hand, like this. Look at one card, not the first one, just one card in the deck, not this one. Are you ready? What are we for? 1, 2. You have one card in your mind? You have one card. You can make the blank card become the 3 cards right now. Do you believe, my friend? Done!
You can now perform all of your favorite effects without any effort, like never before. Bank night, add a number, bill switch, serial numbers divination, card forge, 50-50 prediction, Q&A, mind reading. Black Door opens possibilities we've never had before. It is the tool magicians and mentalists have always dreamed about. I am Riccardo Berdini, and this is Black Door.
Top 3 magic tricks this week. Number 2, Black Door for you. I'm so stoked to be able to have these again. And now you can see why. All right, so that is number 2. It is now time for our top 3 magic tricks. Number 3 this week is Balloon Oracle. I've been waiting to get this one too. This was hard to get for a while. Finally got them. This is absolutely beautiful. It's a system here that allows you to do some very nice predictions. But there's also a really nice part of this that I like, and that is the audience participation. This pack small, plays big, and I'm now going to show you just why I like it with a look at Balloon Oracle. Top 3 for you.
It's hard to find a mannerism act that balances audience engagement, humor, and sheer wonder. But today, I'm thrilled to introduce a prediction system that brilliantly wraps all these elements into one. Welcome to the Balloon Oracle. First, you engage everyone in the room by playing a fun little twisted game of musical hot potato. By throwing the balloon to the audience, spectators are chosen randomly when the music stops. Each spectator names out a color, suit, and value of a playing card respectively. All the decisions are made completely free, and the final spectator is naturally invited onto the stage. You then ask the spectator to shake the balloon, and it turns out there's something inside all along.
Now, I will do some magic to take out the playing cards.
As you pop the balloon with a wand, a card falls out, perfectly predicting the randomly generated playing card. The best part about this is that it isn't limited to predicting cards. You can predict star signs, names, lottery numbers. You can even perform the classic confabulation routine. We are truly eager to see what you guys can come up with this system.
Yeah.
Strong and direct, yet easy to perform. We are proud to present the Balloon Oracle.
All right, that is magic trick number 3 on our top 3 magic tricks this week. A little bit of variety for you out there that I wanted to share with you. So that is it. Along with a couple other little bits, I wanted to say thank you to our friend Ryan Daniels last week, who reminded me about a book that I've been meaning to get, Stage by Stage. This is an amazing, amazing book that will not only just teach you how to do some real cool tricks, but also how to put your act together. The whole topic of this is stage by stage, is taking your magic as well from a close-up situation to a bigger stage. How to take it from a small stage to a bigger stage. This book is highly recommended from us, and we do love our magic books. And of course, there is in here some things about structure and routining. Obviously, there's some really nice tricks in here too, but wanted to mention that. This one is highly recommended around here. And the other books that we've got, there was a topic recently in the All Things Magic group about scripting. We also now have Scripting Magic Volumes 1 and Volumes 2. And if you buy them together, you're going to save, I think, $10 when you buy them together. So these are highly recommended as well. Should be in pretty much every magician's library because, let's be honest, you can do tricks, but when it comes to scripting them and presenting them the right way, that's where the real magic lives. So we are also proud now to have these books in stock as well. Scripting Magic Volumes 1 and 2. So again, if you buy them together, you will save $10 on those two there. So there you go. Really started thinking more about the scripting after talking to Jeff Williams last week, and he actually gives these his thumbs up here by saying that these are gold. Indeed. Yes, they are. Also, the best torn and restored newspaper ever. Yeah, that's in here too. There's also a version of, it's kind of like Priceless, where you have your jacket, someone names a price, you then open up your jacket and hanging from the tag is a price tag. It is the price they just named. There's a version of that in here that is more do-it-yourself, but there's no hard do-it-yourself. That's also included in here as well. And yes, Mr. Graham says, yep, I got them both in my library. I know a lot of you do already, but I did want to say we do now have some books that people have been talking about, and I feel like some people may be needing to have in their library as well. So there we go. All righty. So those are just a couple of things. And I did want to say too, when it comes to the Balloon Oracle, just as a little nudge, as a reminder, don't forget for more expensive things like this, we do offer Afterpay and ShopPay. So you can split up your payments tonight. You'd only have to spend $30 to get Balloon Oracle, and then it splits up the rest of the payments for you. So that's pretty cool too. So there you go. That is our top 3 magic tricks this week and a little extra stuff on the side. All right, we'll be back again next week to bring you our next top 3 list right here.
Hold up.
All right, friends, we are now going to take a look at our Star Supporters goal of the night on the back end here of my system. It looks like we are 36% to our goal. So we are going to miss out on our goal tonight. It's a little bit, this is just a little bit behind, I think. So yes, we won't be doing our Stars big giveaway tonight, but we can still do a giveaway tonight for one of you, one of our Star supporters. Ecstatic to see ATM carrying books. Yes, sir, Mr. Cram. We're growing into that as well. So, yes. What did the polls say? The polls said we should tell you who next week's special guest will be, and I'm showing that now. Good to see you, Mike Sullivan. Always a pleasure, my friend. Unfortunately, I do believe we need to keep a secret tonight, so stay tuned to find out who next week's guest is. We'll probably announce it on Monday. So it's already booked. We are good. All I'm going to tell you is our next week's next week's guest is one of the most creative magicians in the world. And that's all I'm going to tell you. You can fill in the blanks yourself. So that's that. All right. It is time to do a Star Supporters goal. A spin. While we didn't hit the goal, we'll still do a giveaway for one of you. All right, friends. I think I have a couple more people to add. I'm not sure. So far, I want to say thank you to Derek Bumpus, Brian Cornwall, Jim Cox, Mark Buffett, Steve Timken, Doug James, Joe Berman, John Shack, John Carter, Eric Elmore, and Josh Huff. And now we got Ryan Jones coming into the mix right here. Good timing there, Mr. Jones. We got you added there as well. Peter Nile as well. Peter Nile. Thank you, Peter. I think Peter had to run earlier. Yes. We've already got some guesses coming in on who the guest is. Could it be Mario the Maker? Could it be David Regal? Good guess from Steven Silva. Could be Bizarro, maybe. Another vote for Bizarro. Okay. Fun. That's what we try to do around here. Brian Cornwall. Steve Z says, make sure you add me. Yes, sir. Mr. Steve Z. I'll get you added over here. And I believe next week we'll be doing our $100 shopping spree giveaway for our top supporters as well. So stay tuned for that next week. Also, yes, we got a couple more folks to add in here. Richard Zach. Again, these are the people that donated stars to tonight's show. And yes, Mike McClure, got to get him added on there as well. And Sammy Hoxa as well. There we go. Brian's guess is Richard Sanders. That's another good guess. Okay. And also take a look here through our star supporters. Oh, Mike Hankins also donated. Let me get Mr. Mike on there. Let me get him. Okay, thank you, Mike. Okay. There we go. Yes, and Glenn Henry. Got to get Glenn Henry on there. Glenn Henry. As always, thank you for your patience while I do this. I'm a one-man show.
Thank you for holding. Someone will be right with you.
Oh, okay. Peter Niles back. Good to have you back, sir. These guest lineups are amazing. So much to learn with them. Yeah, they're fun. I'm doing my best to keep things on topic. Each week, each guest has like something that they're kind of known for. We try to stick with the topic, and sometimes we just kind of like going off into wherever the show takes us. But I hope you guys are enjoying these. How do you donate stars? So on our Facebook page, you should be able to hit the stars. You should be able to donate right at the bottom of the comments. And if you guys are looking to grab stars, get your stars here, fb.com/stars. But if you are on your phone and you're wanting to donate stars, let's see. I can just remember how to do this. So I'm going to take a look here. But if you're on your phone, at the bottom, there should be a little star. And if you click on the little star at the bottom, then you will be able to send stars from there if you got them. So yes, if you're on your phone and you're watching this, there's a little star there on the bottom. I think Russell managed to get in. So thank you, Russell, for your dono. All right, there we go. Let me add you. Russell Parks. All right. Russell Parks and Scott R. Smith. I did not forget about you, Scott. There we go. Scott R. Smith. All righty. So there we are. Cool. Peters, how much does it cost? How much does it cost to buy every space on the wheel? Asking for a friend. Oh, that's funny. And David first. Did I get David on there? Let me get David on there too. There we go, David. All right, cool. And thank you, my friends, for your support. We don't hit our goal every week. That'd be a perfect world, but it's okay. It is okay. So let us see now who will be our star supporter winner of tonight. Here we go. And yeah, thank you guys. And Larry, what's up, Larry? Larry, good to see you out there. All right, and Yort Spades. I got to get Yort as well. All right, Yort Spades. All right, you are all set. You are all set. 15,000 stars might do it. Yeah, but I don't think we're going to be hitting 15,000 stars right now, Scar Smith. That's okay. That is okay. I think we are lacking about. Yeah, it's okay. No problem. All right. So here we go. Let's do it to it. Let's see who our star supporters winner is going to be. And thank you to Gary for the love on tonight's show as well. All right, here we go. All right. It's time to do it to it. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here and for your support. Here we go. Alrighty, and our winner so far is Eric Elmore, which of course we got to give him a congratulations.
Congratulations!
Now the question comes down to Eric Elmore, if Eric is still out there. I know it's been a long show, and thank you guys for hanging in there tonight. The question now comes down to Eric Elmore. Do you want to keep the prize that you have already won, or do you want to give it back, and do you want to go for a bigger prize? Now, I think the prize you won now is like a $35 prize. So that's already something that you've picked up. Or you could, go for a prize worth $150. Technically, you could win something worth hundreds of dollars because, well, sometimes you actually get to keep the prize and you get to win another one too. So let's see. Eric Elmore has spoken and says, you know what, I want to press it. So that's exactly what we are going to do right now. All right, friends, as you see, we've got a whole lot of prizes. And next to those prizes, we have the same number of whammies. 16 prizes, 16 whammies on our wheel tonight. And thank you. Yes, press that shit. Press that ish. And yes, George Smith says, yeah, you got to press it. That's what we're here for. We're going to press it. I'm going to shuffle these up a little bit, as Juan Tamariz would say. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. So here we go. We've got whammies spread out everywhere, and we are now going to see what we can do for Eric Elmore. All righty. Thank you, Steve Timken. 200 stars. Thank you very much, and all of you. Thank you very much for your support. It is appreciated. All right. My wife said, good luck sending me something I don't own. Prove her wrong. Well, it could be a prize. These things sell for $100. So do you have the foam catch by Julio Montoro? Congratulations! Again, this thing retails for $100. So, but it did end well this time, Steve Timken. It did end well today. So let's see. Yes, sweet. Yes, yes, yes. See, always press. That's right. See, Scott R. Smith, you hush. I don't know if he's got that one or not, but proved her wrong. That's what Eric Elmore says. We actually proved her wrong this time. We'll let the comment pop up here. I'm seeing this also on my phone. Great job. Proved her wrong. See there, Mrs. Elmore. See, we actually got Eric a prize he doesn't have. Got some love coming in from Brian and Jim. And of course, you need to drop us an email, Eric Elmore, info@allthingsmagic.com. We'll get that prize sent over to you, the foam catch by Julio Montoro. We're getting these sold for $100 coming your way just for being one of our star supporters tonight. I think you are one of our new winners too. So it's nice to see some new faces out there winning some free stuff out there too. So there you go on a Taco Tuesday for magicians.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Alrighty, there we have it. What a night full of great information shared from Paul Vigil. Great info, great stories. He's just a great guy. And as Paul reminded you too, if you are coming to Las Vegas, don't forget there is a new location for the Darwin Magic Club as well. So don't forget about that. Alrighty. So thanks to Paul and to all of you as well for being here tonight. Alrighty. It is time, real quick. We're going to do a recap of our stuff, and then we are going to get on out of here with you and for you each week. We are here. We'll be back again next week.
3, 2, 1, let's go!
Recap time, real quick. Again, thank you to Paul Vigil for being our guest. If you just got here, don't forget that you can check out the replay. It's on our YouTube channel and Facebook page. Check out that replay for all the details. Magic trick number 1 on our top 3 list this week was kids cards. This is beautiful stuff. It's basically a hand-drawn deck that becomes real and then goes back again. Cannot say enough good things about it. Do not miss out on kids cards. Black Door's been unavailable for a long time. Finally back in stock again. Check out the full trailer to see what you can do, but it's a utility device that is raved about by people like Paul Vigil, Banachek, and Daniel Garcia. Love this one a lot. And last but not least, we told you about the Balloon Oracle, a prediction system with balloons. A lot of audience engagement. Love this one a lot. I think you guys will enjoy it too. It's presented by Henry Harris, so you know it is good. So that is really, really good stuff there. We also told you about Dan Sperry on the morning show, Told you about Brian Sanders outperforming. Told you about Richard Sanders giving some love for rings. And also about Justin Willman's new special on Netflix coming out called The Prank Show. And last but not least, last week's Throwback Thursday with Jeff McBride, another Throwback Thursday coming up this week. And also, the last but not least, we have Murray Sawchek, who was officially banned from the Magic Castle. Good job. Good job. All right. That's going to do it for me. We are going to go ahead and get out of here. Let me get back to this, and we will get out of here in style. All right. We'll be back next week. Stay tuned to find out who our next special guest will be. They are going to blow your mind, and I can't wait to see you here to do it all over again. Thank you, friends, for hanging out. I know it's late. Got a few friends hanging out left behind, so let's go ahead and get out of here in style. Thank you, guys. See you next week. Thank you, Russell. Appreciate you being here. Good to see you. Thank you, Justin Tiemann. Thanks for hanging in there, boys. I know it's been a long, long show. Hey, thank you, Mr. Steve Z. Thank you, sir. Mr. Cox, Mr. Jim Cox, thank you, sir. Catch you next week. All right, Doug James, much love, buddy. Always good to see you out there. All right, boom is the word. Boom. I know, Ryan. I know. Thanks for hanging out, though. Appreciate you, man. See you next week, Brian. See you guys.
Thank you, and good night.